Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome to a new chapter in our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video, the character we're looking into is Roger Rex. So assuming from the thumbnail, I'm guessing you've all noticed that this is a fully 3D character. So this is my first attempt at making a fully 3D character for our FNAF concept series. So I thought we'd change up the character design and make them look like they were actually in a FNAF game. So going forward in this series, let me know if you like this new 3D look or you'd like us to go back to the 2D versions. So in this video we're going to go through this character's location, gameplay mechanics, backstory and all that good stuff as well. And as always, I will just say that everything I say in this video isn't necessarily linked to the overall lore and universe of FNAF. This is just a cool creepy what if scenario and a cool creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. And lastly, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty, well, let's get into the character concept of Roger Rex. So before we get into our new character concept, let's first take a quick look at the other themed Freddy Fazbear pizzerias in the series. So in our previous videos we explored the jungle themed Freddy's Pizzeria, the Funtime Farm Pizzeria, the Water Wonderland Pizzeria, and the Insect Kingdom Pizzeria. Each of these establishments had a number of creepy animatronics that were hell-bent on terrorizing the player. The player would survive through the nights the best they could, fending off each and every character in their own specific way. All of these frightening animatronics had their own disturbing backstory and reasons for attacking the player. But now across the country in a new state stood another branch in the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria family. This was of course the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria. This was a prehistoric dinosaur themed children's entertainment restaurant. Like most Freddy Fazbear establishments, they had a number of fun attractions and areas that would fit their theme. But we'll get into those as we progress through the videos. But apart from the party area, the seating and dining area, there was the main stage. This is where the animatronics would perform all their jolly birthday songs for all the guests in the Jurassic Jam Band. Speaking of animatronics, let's meet our first dino character. So the first character we're introducing is Roger Rex. Roger Rex was of course modelled after the king of the dinosaurs, the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex. The engineers opted for a bright red colour scheme with shiny metallic claws and teeth. Now the animatronics at the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria were made of a different material to their other characters in the past. These characters were made of a shiny hard plastic rather than their soft material skin of the earlier models. Of course, like most animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's, they weren't kept their cleanest. Roger's body was covered in multiple stains and marks. Due to their delicate hardware, they couldn't really be cleaned. All the staff could do was pretty much spray them here and there to prevent any nasty odours. One key feature with all the animatronics at the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria was their facial recognition software. So all the characters had the ability to scan each and every guest. This would help them determine who they were talking to, whether it was a child, adult, staff member or security personnel. This would help them when interacting with certain guests and choose the appropriate way to interact.
Are you having fun? Be sure to check out the prize counter to get your free birthday surprise. Hey there, why not relax at the Jurassic Cafe? We have everything under control.
The characters were also linked to the criminal database of the area. This would allow them to identify any suspicious or dangerous looking characters.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The authorities are on their way.
So all in all, this facial recognition software proved to be quite successful. But every new and innovative software has its fair share of hiccups here and there. So Roger's role up on stage was that of the main singer. They would be up on stage singing all their birthday tunes with all the other members of the band. Roger's programmed personality traits were goofy, clumsy, caring, and bombastic. So overall, Roger was considered to be quite the successful animatronic. They had a large number of fans and their popularity always stayed steady. Their facial recognition software worked quite well and was fairly effective. That was until the restaurant was closed and the hiccups happened after hours. So, of a nighttime, all Freddy Fazbear animatronics must be left in their free roam setting. This ensures that all their inner mechanics stay limber and don't seize up. If they were to stay still too long, their servers would jam up and cost the pizzeria a lot of money to repair. So, as we all know, it's of a nighttime when all the animatronics get a little quirky. From time to time, Roger would get a little confused with identifying the night guard. Sometimes they would register as the night guard, but other times they would be identified as an endoskeleton without its costume. Seeing that this is strictly not allowed at any Freddy Fazbear establishment, Roger would have no choice but to take the defined endo to the repair room and stuff them inside an empty costume. But seeing that all the outer skins at the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria were made of a dense hard plastic and sharp metal inner workings, being crammed into one of these costumes would be certain death. So alongside their facial recognition malfunctions, Roger also had some strange quirks of their own. Of a nighttime, the security guard would spot Roger up on stage staring out at an empty imaginary crowd. Their eyes would be staring off in the distance whilst their mouth still moved up and down. No sound was coming out of their mouth though. It was like Roger would always be performing even though no one was there. Maybe it was in their programming. Or maybe Roger was seeing something that no one else could. So now let's get into the gameplay segment of the video. So as always in our character concept videos, the gameplay loop follows the classic FNAF formula of observation and management. So the security office at the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria was quite similar to the Insect Kingdom Pizzeria. It has both a left and right door, and left and right air vents. The only thing with the air vents is that there isn't an extinguisher function like the Insect Kingdom. So if any characters appeared here, the player would have to deal with them in a different way. But we'll get into that in the later videos. So when the player checks the security cameras, Roger would always be up on stage. The player would be safe until the lights turn off in the stage area. Once the lights were off, this would mean the pretend show was over and Roger would be on the move. Roger would only approach from the right hand side door. The player would be able to hear Roger approaching by their large mechanical footsteps. As soon as they approached the door, the player would need to shut it immediately. Unfortunately for the player, Roger was one of the only animatronics that would stay at the door the longest. This wouldn't work well for the player's power consumption. But fortunately for them, the player could control the stage lights. The lights can turn back on for 15 seconds, but have a 2-minute cooldown period. Roger would head over towards the stage and investigate. There was a 50-50 chance of this happening. The player would now know where Roger was by seeing them appear back on the stage on the cameras. Roger would also be able to mess around with the cameras. He would have the ability to freeze frame one of the cameras. So whilst looking at the monitors, there would be 2 different Rogers in 2 different areas. The player would have to determine which one was the real Roger and act accordingly. There would be small little differences that the player would have to look for. Either their eyes moving or the freeze frame camera looking a little more jittery. This could definitely confuse the player and keep them occupied whilst Roger made their way towards the office. Another action Roger would do is appear right behind the glass and stare at the player. They could either reappear in another area after staring or go back right behind the door. Either way, the player would need to open the door and check. So with all these different abilities thrown at the player, this would surely keep them on their toes. The player is bound to slip up sometime, and when they do, they will be greeted with a classic FNAF jump scare. So I think Roger Rex is a great first addition to the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria. They pose as a mid-tier threat and would be a great first night enemy to interact with. But if they'd stay that simple to deal with as the nights go on, then that would be for the player to find out. When mixed with the other characters, I'm sure Roger will add to the stress of the 5 nights. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also in the comment section down below, let me know what you thought of Roger Rex and the new 3D design, and also what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well until the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.